1, 2.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm Mark Cooper, a proud member of this spiritual community. If you could take a second to turn off your cell phones and your pagers and all that fun stuff, that'd be swell. Good job. If you're new to the Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living today, welcome. We're so glad you found us. We're a spiritual community of diverse people who want a deeper experience of the sacred in our daily lives. Let's take a second to greet your neighbor, especially a neighbor who you don't know. It's getting harder and harder for me to find someone I don't know on Sunday. I think I've greeted everyone. The words to the chant will be on the screen here, and then a message from our very own Reverend Carol. Thank you.
Let's all stand up. Come on, come on. 1, 2, 1, 2. You got to sing when the Spirit says sing. You got to sing when the Spirit says sing. Oh, when the Spirit says sing, you got to sing right along. Sing when the Spirit says sing. You got to shout when the Spirit says shout. Woo! You got to shout when the Spirit says shout. Oh, when the Spirit says shout, you got to shout right along. Shout when the Spirit says shout. You got to pray when the Spirit says pray. You got to pray when the Spirit says pray. Oh, when the Spirit says pray, you got to pray right along. Pray when the Spirit says pray. Dance! You got to dance when the Spirit says dance. You got to dance when the Spirit says dance. Oh, when the Spirit said dance, you got to dance right along. Dance when the Spirit says dance. Laugh, oh! You got to laugh when the Spirit says laugh. Woo! You got to laugh when the Spirit says laugh. Oh, when the Spirit said laugh, you got to laugh right along. Laugh when the Spirit says laugh. Cry! You got to cry when the Spirit says cry. You gotta cry when the Spirit said cry. Or when the Spirit said cry, you got to cry right along. Cry when the Spirit said sing. You gotta sing when the Spirit says sing. You gotta spring when the Spirit says sing. When the Spirit says sing, you got to sing right along. Sing when the Spirit says sing. You gotta sing when the Spirit says sing. You gotta sing when the Spirit say. Everybody sing out. Sing.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Reverend Carol Huntley, where I'm operating with a new microphone this morning. Are we good? Just okay. So the opening prayer this morning, of course, I want to include Steve Jobs. And the greatest thing, I love all of his quotes that everybody's been sending around the internet. But Angie Lang sent out this cartoon where Steve Jobs was up at the pearly gates, and St. Peter was, with all of these papers looking for Steve Jobs, and Steve says, I got an app for that. So turning within with that joy of life and knowing that joy and life are eternal because God is everlasting and every single thing is within God in this dimension and all others, in this era and all others. And so it is that we go from glory to glory. Individualized aspects of God, as I am and we all are. We go from experience to experience. We go from the form into the formless and into the form again. It is all life. It is all God. It is all forever. And so on this beautiful, beautiful morning, on this earth plane where we share this time together, we remember that one who lived among us, Steve Jobs. And we may be drawn to remember other beloveds who lived among us and have taken that journey through the doorway before us, just like taking an earlier train. We give thanks for all that they brought us. We give thanks for the new ideas, for the inventions, for the inspiration, for the connection, for the humor, for the stories. And know that we have been changed for good because we knew them, because we knew Steve and the other beloveds in our life. Reminding ourselves with every breath as we stay here on this earth plane that life is a gift, and every moment spent in joy is spending that gift well. Every moment giving of that life force within us, that moment is a life well lived. Stringing them together like pearls on a necklace, we have our blessed life, reminded by those who have gone before us to live every single day. I give my thanks. I claim the answer to this prayer in each heart and release it into the law, also eternal. And so it is. Amen. So we have a marvelous, marvelous gift for you this morning. Many gifts, but the one that you're going to hear right next is the Clarewood Singers. Absolutely. I get here early so I can hear them rehearse, and we have an inspirational morning ahead. Please welcome the Clarewood Singers.
Good morning. On behalf of our director, Donald Hartzell, and all of the Clarewood Singers, we'd like to express our joy being with you once again. Our first selection this morning is one that many of you will recognize, an a cappella number, and it's a blessing not only for our spiritual community, but also for our individual homes, called Bless This House.
Bless this house, O Lord, we pray. Make it safe by night and day.
Bless these walls so firm and sound, keeping want and trouble out.
and what a blessing you are to be in our house today. Thank you. Good morning. I am Reverend Judith Fleener, and it's my pleasure to do our blessing of the children, our gratitude, and our announcements today. So first, let's just turn and look to the children and realize that we are blessed because they bless our house and our congregation every day. And so as they go off to their individual lessons to learn what we'll be learning as adults here in their own child way, let's just hold our hearts and think about the gratitude for the child within as well as the child without. Have a great class. And now, you know that we usually start the service with gratitude. And rather than going into big gratitude right now, I'm just going to say that the gratitude that we have today is for our 13 new members who will be inducted later in this service. So we'll get to spread our love and gratitude to them at that time. So look forward to that. As you know, we are a teaching order, which means we have classes. And what time is it in fall? Back to school time. And so if you're thinking about what it is that you want to do for your own personal development, that's not for your kids, this is for you, though your kids may benefit. Go right around the corner here. The education table that's usually here is behind by the coffee today, and sign up for classes. And one special announcement, where's Janet? Janet, wave. Anybody who doesn't know this lovely red-haired spiritual being, this is Janet Carol Ryan. It is the last day to sign up for her class, which is spiritual practices, where you'll learn about meditation and our form of prayer, which is called the science of mind treatment, an affirmative prayer. And you'll just learn to be a better you that you came to this earth to be. Your class starts on Thursday, and they can still sign up, not too late. And you can still sign up for her class, too. So make sure you don't miss, because there's a lot of classes starting this week, and there's more in the back and more in the bulletin. Now, normally, we would have Sue here to announce about Michael Beckwith, right? Well, today's your opportunity to do an announcement about Michael Beckwith. So in honor of Steve Jobs, I brought up my iPhone. And if you go to YouTube or to the Golden Gate website or to the email that was sent out this week, you too can announce about Beckwith. Because Michael Beckwith himself made a little YouTube video. You can post it to your web page. You can post it to your Facebook page. You can send it out in an email blast. It's a very short little YouTube having him invite everyone to his presentation. When is his presentation? October 21st. And so if you need to know how to search for it, it's under his name in YouTube. If you don't get the newsletter, which you could sign up for on our webpage, just search on Michael Bernard Beckwith in Marin, California, 10/21/11. Okay? Now, moving forward to today, do you see we have a bunch of books here? Does this look like anybody else's nightstand? Because it looks like my nightstand. And so some people have cleared off their nightstands and brought some things here to share with the community that can be purchased for bargain prices, and it benefits all those youth that we just talked about, because it's a fundraiser for our Youth and Family Committee. So especially those of you that are only here once, you're on a special day. Go get your spiritual books. This week, is Reverend Sarah here? I don't see her, but there was an announcement missed. You know that we don't put everything in the morning announcements. A lot of it's right here on this yellow page or on our website for other things that are going on. But one got missed this week, which is that Reverend Sarah Hargraves, one of our staff ministers, who does spirituality and business, this Thursday has her Marin group, and the topic this month, or this week, or I guess it would be for a whole month because they don't meet again until the next month, is Keeping It Simple. And that will be at 8 a.m. at El Fornayo restaurant. Grab a cup of coffee, sit down, and have conversations with people about keeping it simple. And for those of you that weren't here when we handed out your graduation certificates or completion certificates for various classes, they're also on the ed table in the back today. So go and pick them up. Does that do it? Okay. So, we do have one class announcement today, which is Barbara Cox, if you'll come and announce about your class. This is why I ask.
Good morning. Is there anyone in the room who has a relationship where it's not totally healthy and fulfilling for you? I hear laughter. Okay, good. Or not good. So I'm speaking about mate, relationship with spirit, relationship with parents, siblings, children, friends, co-workers. So I want to announce a class that will be offered. It's called Relationship on Purpose, and it's about crafting a conscious relationship that's healthy. And so as religious scientists, we like to say, if I could just tell the other person what to do, maybe they'll do it, and that will be it. But as religious scientists, we can't go there anymore. So this is about taking a look at our own beliefs, and especially those pesky hidden beliefs that kind of run us, and we wonder, why does this keep happening to me in this kind of relationship? So this is the kind of work I'm talking about. It's about hidden beliefs, and it's about creating some new tools. It's a 4-week series beginning on Tuesday evenings, October 25th through November 22nd. It will be taught mostly by Posey Lyon and a little bit by me. So, thank you.
Thank you, Barbara. And now we have the great pleasure of hearing a spiritual message, hopefully that will touch your heart and mind today, that will take you out into the world. Our senior minister, Reverend Carol Huntley, who will be talking on responsibility, being the game. Carol.
But before I start on responsibility being the game, we have another game. We have a new member induction. We have 13 new members today. So with those blessed beings, please come right up here. And as they come up, I'm going to read their names, because not everybody's here. Come right up here and line up and face Katrina and I. This is Suzanne Karsh, Leslie Gianetti, Margaret Miles, Margaret Shepelin, Susie Coity, Marta LaRue, Karen Lang, David Dahl, Paula Karp, Denise Johnson, and Trish Brady. I'm pretty good with the first names. So look at you. To us first. So I would like to say that choosing one's family intentionally is a blessing. And you have chosen to make your spiritual home here at the Golden Gate Center. Some of you pretty new, some of you here longer than me. And so in this conscious choice, we bless you. And we know that this conscious choice opens up the capacity for soaring in your life, because you believe in these principles or you wouldn't be here. We are enriched. We are deeply, deeply enriched to add you to our family. And so your president, Katrina, wants to welcome you too.
So we had such a fun time together on Friday night where we were together and getting to know one another. So I just want to say on behalf of all of the members of the Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living, welcome to our family.
So if any of the members here would like to renew their vows at this time, you may stand to do that. And so to all of you, but especially to these new ones, do you believe you are a divine incarnation of the one life forever and ever growing in awareness and love? If so, answer, I do.
I do.
Do you accept the philosophy of science of mind as an empowering structure for a life well lived? If so, answer, I do.
I do.
Will you continue to work toward a purified consciousness, at least in part by following the teachings of science of mind? If so, answer, I will.
I will.
And will you love this community and support it with your time, your talent, and your treasure? If so, answer, I will.
I will.
And then to all of you members, and why don't you turn around and receive this now? Do you all make a conscious commitment to share joys and sorrows together, to delight in one another, to share our lives, and do you promise to seek to see the face of God as you look into each other's eyes? If so, answer, I do.
I do.
So now turn back here to me, and as a conclusion to this wonderful ceremony and as the little ritual that is our tradition, you may sit down, you members. As happened with you when you were new members, these beloveds have claimed a quality. I think they have to come to you. They have claimed a quality that they are going to bring to this community. And on the altar is the riverbed of the qualities of those that have come before them. And so, my darlings, as you place your rock on the riverbed of this community, you become the foundation as well for the people that come after you. And so Katrina will give you the microphone. Just say your first name and what you bring.
Hi, I'm Trish, and I bring vibrance.
Let's say welcome, Trish.
Welcome, Trish.
My name's Denise, and I bring grounding.
Welcome, Denise.
My name is Paula, and I bring muse.
Muse. Welcome, Paula.
Thank you.
My name is David, and I bring integrity.
Welcome, David.
My name's Karen, and I bring faith.
Welcome, Karen.
My name is Marta, and I bring playfulness.
Welcome, Marta.
My name is Susie, and I bring generosity.
Welcome, Susie.
My name is Margaret, and I bring prosperity.
Welcome, Margaret.
My name is Margaret, and I bring music.
Welcome, Margaret.
My name is Leslie, and I bring enthusiasm.
Welcome, Leslie.
My name is Suzanne, and I bring compassion.
Welcome, Suzanne. Now may we all welcome these beloveds with riotous applause. Thank you, and welcome to the family. You may be seated. You put your rocks on the altar. So I was fortunate enough to be able to make the altar today. We have an altar team, but somehow in the new schedule coming out, there was this perfect Sunday. So I have a harvest altar with fruit and vegetables and flowers and new members and plenty of supply. There's gold nuggets there and coins. So it reminds us of the abundance of our life. So I am talking about that R word today, responsibility. Being the game is the responsibility. Being the game is the name of my talk today. Just checking. Is there anyone frustrated out there? Anyone ever been frustrated? Now, a few of you? Okay. Well, you know, the title, Responsibility Being the Game, comes from the 10th chapter in the book that we're looking through, studying, getting inspiration from all year long, The Art of Possibility. And so this is what it says. This is the first paragraph of this this chapter, and it's a hard message, but it's going to get good. Okay, so just keep with me here. When the way things are seems to offer no possibility, when you are angry and blocked, and for all your efforts, others refuse to move or cooperate or to compromise or even to be halfway decent, when even enrollment does not work and you are at your wit's end, you can take out this next practice, our graduate course in possibility. In this one, you rename yourself as the board on which the whole game is being played. And then the sentence from last week, you move the problematic aspect of any circumstance from the outside world inside the boundaries of yourself. With this act, you can transform the world. And I'm telling you, you will at least transform your world. So the way that this works with me, usually to my benefit, I guess all the time to my benefit, is that my life reflects the topic I'm going to talk about. So this week, I had a deep, deep disappointment. And I'm not going to go into it because it's still brand new and it has nothing to do with the church, so don't try to figure it out. Really nothing to do with the church, it's personal. But I got to live the topic because what happened was I had a dream, I had a hope that was denied. And in fact, this was it. When, for all my efforts, and believe me, I put some out there, others refused to move or cooperate or to compromise. That's what I was experiencing. And just a parenthesis here, lest you think that the principles do not work for me, I want to say that the circumstances of my dreams were denied, but not the quality or the essence of the desired experience. And that's the same for you. We have bad surprises sometimes. We have surprises that impact us and we say, wow, I didn't choose that, you know, I don't like it, my dreams are dashed, and they're not. The circumstances that you were dreaming through may be denied to you as they were to me, but the possibility of that experience happening has not been lost. So back to my experience, because it was really, I hope it'll be instructive, because this disappointment came in a moment, in a phone call in Costco. And so it was like the reality that I was hoping went away from me at light speed. And I felt myself folding in with sadness and confusion and amazement that this could actually be happening to me. And I observed myself, because there's when you've been in this business as long as me, there's part that, you know, it's going, oh, you're getting really unhappy. And so I was noticing that I was getting really unhappy, down to that pinpoint awareness that this really hurts. Shortly, thank God, I said to myself, I have to get myself out of this. And so what I know to do is to say, what is a blessing in my life? What do I look forward to? What new thing can I give this energy to? Because when you have something that you think is going to happen, you're all plugged into that possibility. And then when the possibility disappears, you have these like little electrical outlet pluggies spitting sparks, you know, and you got to plug them in somewhere. And so I said, where is my life force going to be plugged into that I thought, you know, I had all sewed up there? So what happened was I could feel my real life kicking in, my enthusiasm for life, and I went back and forth a few times, into the disappointment, back into the enthusiasm, into the disappointment. And so I was working on the talk, and I came across this amazing statement. The practice is to declare, and it's up here, I am the framework for everything that is happening in my life. I am the framework for everything that's happening in my life. And then it goes on. This is perhaps the most radical and elusive of all the practices in this book, and it is also one of the most powerful. Here's another way of saying it. If I cannot be present without resistance to the way things are and act effectively, if I feel myself to be wronged, a loser, or a victim, I will tell myself that some assumption I have made is the source of my difficulty. Now, this is so powerful that I could choose another assumption. And it's not just any assumption. I could assume the truth, because the truth is God doesn't give us anything for us to just stop, just to turn off the life force. God doesn't do that. God doesn't give us something just to make us unhappy. So I know that a lot of us have been concerned with the economy, and so this is how you would think about that statement. You would say, the source of my difficulty is not the economy. The source of my difficulty is putting my circumstances as the source of my dreams instead of my vision. Do you get that? If the circumstances are just what you're standing in, they're what's going on around you, and that is not the cause of your life. The cause of your life is your dream. So I assumed, and I'm in that place now, I assume that my life force is called to another place, and that all that I thought I would experience in the path that was closed is I'm still going to get to do. I'm going to get to have that. I'm still going to get to have that experience. And so the steps for knowing that I am the framework are, it's me that's doing the noticing. I'm noticing this is happening to me, that watcher, that noticer. It is me that's reacting. I can have a different reaction. And then it is me who is choosing to stay stuck or get free. And if you think that this is like way too much for you, please see a practitioner. The practitioners are trained to not take no for an answer. Because God never just says no. God never says no. The life force within us is always, always seeking to express. And then I did, as I was going through this and thinking about this great quote from Steve Jobs, your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. Don't be trapped by dogma, or what I say is impoverished assumptions. Don't be trapped by impoverished assumptions, which is living with the results of other people's thinking. Don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your own inner voice. And most important, have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. They somehow already know what you truly want to become. Everything else is secondary. So another way of saying I am the framework is here. God is the framework for everything that happens in my life. Now, this is the same statement. I am the framework for everything that happens in my life, and God is the framework for everything that happens in my life. Who do you think you are? You are a part of God. The life you are living is God's life. So you can say it either way, but you have to, that I is not the ego I. The I is the divine. The divine, you as the divine. So then is this great quote from Ernest in our bulletin. You can provide these quotes. Pat does it if you don't. So Pat has to read my mind of what I want. And she does it all the time. Listen to this. Stay with the one and never deviate from it. Never leave it for a moment. Nothing else can equal this attitude. The person who can throw himself with a complete abandon into that limitless sea of receptivity, having cut loose from all apparent moorings, is the one who will always receive the greatest reward. So that's me, just to let you know. I am going to receive the greatest reward. It wasn't what I thought, but you know, nothing has changed. God is still the framework for everything that happens in my life. So you can think about this, and you can take it home and think about it, and I will do a recap, or you don't have to think about it, and you can just sit in your heart with what we do next. Sing a little song, have a little silence, and here we go. Don't think about this. Just go in your heart. I am whole and complete in God. 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 Whole and complete in God. I am whole and complete in God. And coming back. That's all you have to remember. That you are whole and complete in God. So one of the things that is within the framework of your life that is divine is your supply, your money. And we're going to start a sweet program going for about 3 weeks, right this very minute. And I'm going to ask Francine to come up and talk about it for us.
Good morning. I am so excited, I'm about to burst. As some of you know, this is one of my most joyous things that I get to do with this community. And as Carol was talking, I realized it's because it's the most loving thing that I can do with my presence in this community. In the past, we've called it Pledge Program. We have a different name. And the reason this is so loving and so exciting for me is because there are so many aspects to our lives, and each one of them represents a doorway, an invitation for us to make that the framework of our lives through which God expresses. And I personally think giving and receiving is one of those doorways that can be a little, I guess, squeaky. A squeaky door for some of us. So what I know with my own personal experience and with talking to a lot of people is it can also be a hugely transformational doorway for all of us. And so this year's program is completely divinely inspired. It is called the Do It Yourself Abundance Commitment Program for 2012. Do it yourself. It's about taking personal responsibility for the game. And so here is how it's different. This is a community that we create ourselves. We create by being here. We create it every Sunday by showing up. If you all didn't show up, there would be no church on Sunday. If we did not give, there would be no Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living. It's run entirely by generous donations. And this is our principle. This is one of the fundamental principles that we study, we learn, and we practice, is that we take responsibility for co-creating with Spirit what it is we intend in the world. So this do-it-yourself program is very different because we're going to co-create this community ourselves from the ground up. In the past, it often seems like it happens from the top down. The leaders decide how much we need for a budget. We have a thermometer. We say this is how much money we have to raise, and we ask you to help us with that. No thermometer, no goal. It is completely from the ground up. So it's all of us stepping into the choice of what we want to create here as a community, what you want to come to every Sunday, the music, the classes. Reverend Carol, being here not only on Sundays but all the time for all that she does. The staff in the offices themselves, everything that we have. We co-create it. We bring it together by our intention, by our word, our thought, and our action. And so, as we go forward, we recognize that what we are as a community, our role here is to teach these principles that are completely transformational, that free us, and then give you the tools to use those principles in the world. So we're going to do that with this do-it-yourself. We're going to give you tools and principles, and then you decide where you want to take this. So we want to honor, as we make these decisions, I've sat out there and I have experienced all the different things I think you're all experiencing right now. We want to honor the different kinds of choices that we all make, the different kinds of feelings we all have. So we've identified, 4. There's as many different ways of being as there are people in this room right now, but we've identified 4 general states of givingness and choosingness. And so we have people that will talk about each one. And so the first one I'd like to invite up are Jim and Elizabeth Austin, who are going to talk to us about that decision of automatic giving, which is really kind of an experience of just living to give. As you know, the Austins, they are just living to give. So if you'll come up and just say a few words about that.
Do you all know what this is? If you have one, you should read both sides. It's very, very interesting. Now, my wife told me that I go first. And you know how it is when you're married. You do what she tells you. Automatic giving. If you want this church to be here in the distant future, in the near future, then $1 a week isn't going to cut it. We found that out, and we knew it, and we believed it a long time ago. Now, it's more convenient to have that little card to put in there. Some people ask, what are they doing? What is that little card? So you can tell them, or you can just know that it's your situation. It's much easier to not even bring your wallet on Sunday mornings. Just bring your little card. Of course, if you get stopped by the CHP, that's different. Our choices have been to support the church for many years. We feel good about doing that. We feel fulfilled, and we know that if we want this church, and we certainly do, that's what we're going to continue to do from here on out, as long as it takes, as much as it takes, and you're on.
Thank you, Jim. That was very good. Very good. Okay. You never know what's going to come out of the mouth of people. Anyway, Jim did all the churchy part of it, and I can come from the part of being the bookkeeper, the person in charge of taking care of all of finances. And one of the things about automatic giving is it's your way of having good proof for the IRS when you do your taxes. I mean, it's a very important thing to have. It's also good for our budgeting, for the church's budgeting. With automatic giving, you can change the amount if something happens. You can raise it or lower it. It's very simple. You just call the church office, so you're not locked into something. It's changeable. And another thing that I like about automatic giving on my credit card, and this may not be so religious, but I get points. I get points from my business, which is great, which increases my business, and which then we can increase the church. So there's a lot of good things about giving. And if you have any questions about or any hesitations, we're going to be over in the table in that corner, and we'll be so happy to explain why it's so wonderful to give from the heart on the card.
Elizabeth, points is totally in principle because it's multiplying your good. So you'll just see at this level of giving, automatic giving, where it's take your gift, you designate your gift being taken from your credit card, received from your credit card, your bank account, and so on. It's automatic. You can just see the ease and grace that they represent of this kind of giving. Now, we have tables set up around the room, and afterwards we invite you to mill about the tables. Feel yourself drawn to the table that is the place where you are, where you're being called to choose. And we'll have people at all these tables, and there are materials at every table too, these support tools. And so the automatic giving table is back here. Each table is in yellow, gold. So afterwards, feel free to go over there and talk and, ask questions and just share with each other where you are in giving, because that's what we're all here for. And so there's another choice that some of us make, and I'm just going to let Janet talk about this choice. It's a spiritual practice.
It is a spiritual practice. Tithing is essential to my spiritual practice. I made the choice 14 years ago, and I remember the Sunday I was here, as we are today, and I was in the midst of my practicing studies, and I made the choice that day to tithe, to enter into a deeper relationship with my source, and discovering that God indeed is my partner in all things. And my palms were sweating. And I reached over to one of my fellow practitioner students, and we did a little pinky swear. Yeah, okay, you're going to do it? Yeah, I'm going to do it. Okay, we'll tithe. And I've been tithing for 14 years. And it puts me in the midst of that flow, because I have a regular practice of looking within and asking, where have I been spiritually nourished? Where have I felt source inspiring me? And more and more, almost all the time, my tithe check is written to the Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living, because I am inspired, I am uplifted, I continuously learn and grow and expand in this beloved community. It's a bit of a wild ride sometimes. Sometimes writing out that check gives me those sweaty palms, but I always have the opportunity to remember God is my source. I am giving back into an unlimited flow, and I can open to receive. Thank you.
So if you feel ready to tithe, if you feel really sweaty palms, but it's just kind of grabbing you and time for you to think about that, if you just want to ask some questions about it, the tithing table is straight back, and Janet will be there, and there will be other people there and practitioners. There's materials there to support you and educate you. And now we're going to talk about sort of an experience that I can relate to. In fact, I just realized standing here, these 4 different kinds of giving, I have been in every one of those this year, like right now, actually. I give automatically because I travel a lot, and I just want to know that, my peeps are going to be fed when I'm gone. I tithe. And this next one we call economic warriors. We want to acknowledge that, it's been a challenging couple of years for many of us. And as religious scientists, we look at challenge in a different way. We look at a challenge as being called to something new, called to a different way of seeing, a different way of being, a different way of stepping through our lives. And as Carol said, recognizing that we are the cause, we are that framework. And so economic warriors, really related to Carol's talk, is that courage, that faith in the midst of any condition. And so we have Galen that will talk about that.
Okay, the first thing I want to say is at my table there is cookies. So visit me at my table. And I have to say, recent economic conditions has affected our family, the Cooper family. Now Mark and I go out in the backyard and do all that gardening that I actually am not all that 100% fond of, but we do it anyway. So we do it now. We don't have a gardener to come and do it for us. And last month we canceled our fax line, save that $30. But there's one place we would never stop giving, and that's to God, and that's here at the Golden Gate Center. And I have to say, I know that God gives me back 100 times more than I ever can give God. And as a practitioner here in this community also, I believe that. I mean, even when I started out as a practitioner with Reverend Michael Beckwith, I always, always knew that my place was to tithe because I can't outgive God.
Cookies for the warriors. And so this last category we call beginners. This is where maybe you're new here, maybe you haven't thought of giving, you haven't thought in that way. And I represent that category, which may surprise you. But Carol asked me to share a story that just turned my life around about giving. This was, when I first was coming to this community, my husband actually brought me to this community. He wasn't my husband then. And I was sitting next to him right when the offering plate was going around. And, I don't usually do this, but I kind of looked at the check he was writing out. I'm so glad I did. It was transformational. I looked at the check that he was writing out next to me, and he's given me permission to say this. And it was $500. Well, all right, yeah. Well, the point of that was I had never seen someone give that kind of money to a church before. I had never even heard of someone giving money to a church, and it never occurred to me to give money at that level. In fact, it really shook me up because it made me start thinking about giving to the community. And just seeing that generosity, I'm sure Spirit meant it to be such a big impact that it did, because it really grabbed my attention. It really made me think about what the Austins said, very frankly, which is that this church would not be here if we don't give, and give generously. And there are people that give generously to make it possible so that the people that maybe are here new, that are not ready for giving, makes it possible for all of us to be here. So you might be in that place where you haven't thought of giving or giving much. When I was a kid, my dad put $5 on the plate, so I thought that's what you give. Never mind, that might be many years later, things cost a little differently. That was just the level that I thought. So it really shook me up to see someone giving in that way. So if you're new to giving or this story is inspiring you, there's a table called Beginners that is right here where I'll be. And so I wanted to let you know that at these tables we have all sorts of tools. I didn't bring it up, but we have a tool that will help you. It's called Set the Bar. I've gotten a lot of questions over the years of how do I decide what to give, how much to give. So we've created this whole inner experience that you do yourself. You do your own inner experience, and it helps you make a determination of how much to give, where to give, and maybe some things that are coming up for you to work on. So there's tools at all of these different tables. Some of them overlap, some of them are different. So I ask you to go to the table that feels like it's calling you. But we're going to be here for the next 3 weeks, so visit all of them and get all the materials, and let's create this community from the ground up, knowing that whatever we create is absolutely perfect. And if I could just take a moment, because Ed says that we are streaming live to the world, I can't resist this opportunity to talk directly to the camera, because there are people that are receiving this now that we've heard of that are saying what a gift that they get to receive Carol's message, they get to receive this music, they get to receive us each and every Sunday, wherever they are. So I invite anyone who's watching, if they would like to give in return for what they've received, we'll certainly receive your gifts. And I personally, if you contact the home office at ggcsl.org and ask for some of these materials, I'll make sure you get these materials. If people email me, this includes everyone in the audience, if you want to email me and ask questions, tell me how I can help you move through this and move into a greater experience of life. As I said, this is my greatest joy to do this. Call me and I'll pray for you. Call me and I'll answer questions. Call me and I will lead you to the right tools. I really want for everyone here to experience life, experience spirit in a whole new way, and use giving and receiving as that doorway. Thank you.
So there's 4 tables. Pledge cards are at every table. Thank you for your generosity in advance. And thank you to the people that shared. Oh my gosh, you were just completely fabulous. And whatever it is that you decide about this, remember, just as you are whole and complete in God. So now we have something really special from the Clarewood Singers.
Welcoming new members is a joyful time, so we'd like to dedicate our song this morning for your new members. And it's a little Beethoven that might be familiar. This piece is called Joyful, Joyful.
Well, new members, that was pretty amazing, right? And all the rest of us just happened to be there for that gift to the new members. Woohoo! So I would like the ushers to please get in the back there with the baskets, and for us to just pause for a moment and think about this wonderful act of giving, replicating the nature of God. You know, God gives and gives and gives, and we can never outgive God. So if you'll just take your gift in your hands and put it next to your heart and realize that this gift really does make this entire community possible. All that we do here, all that is accomplished, and we are the support of each other in so many ways. So I give my thanks in advance for these sweet gifts, and so it is. Amen.
Dear child, let me tell you I have given you my treasure. I love you so. Dear child, let me tell you how I feel. I have given you my treasure. I love you so. Dear child, let me tell you how I feel. I have given you my treasure. I love you so. Dear child, let me tell you how I feel. I have given you my treasure. I love you so.
We give thanks for this entire morning, for our new members, for the gift of music, for the gift of generous hearts, sharing the supply of God. And we give thanks to God, our source of all good. Blessed be. So, there are pledge cards and materials on a table there, and two up here. And if all of you would take home about 15 books from the book sale, that would be really, really great. And if anyone would like a prayer from a practitioner based on anything, the practitioners are available to you. And so if the practitioners would come forward now, and Judith will pray us out.
Isn't silence wonderful? If the rest of the practitioners would surround the room, creating a container of love. And if each and every one of you would bring yourself to that position which best serves you for prayer. I take this moment to breathe in the joy of that one living entity that has been with us, in us, through us, as us. I choose to call this God. This divine presence of life itself that is ever giving and always present. And I align with that, reminding myself that my life is the very life of God. That I am here on this planet in this time to give and to be that expression that only I can be, that God lives through me. And so it is in this place of knowing that I am constantly connected, constantly co-creating, and constantly experiencing and expressing the love of God that I choose to claim a shift in consciousness for each and every person in this room or streaming live on the internet who hears this prayer, knowing that when we remember that we are constantly connected to the living source, there is only good. And that any conditions that may not seem that way that are present in my life right now are just a blip, just a moment in time. And just as they came to me as a surprise, they can leave as quickly. And so I claim a shift in consciousness, allowing that in this moment, relationships are healed. Financial instability or unknowingness slips away into that knowingness that God is in the midst and that the bright sun is sure to shine just like it does after the morning fog. And so if there is a physical sensation that is happening in your body or the body of another, knowing that the body is just a temple of God, aligning with that recollection and bringing it forth into the pure perfection that it was meant to be. I claim that all of these things are done with abundance. And as we move into our financial giving program, it isn't a program of abundance and love and joy. And that as we go into our hearts and decide what is right for us to give, we find that also the solutions to other things are just as easy as we go inside and find that truth. And so knowing that this is a joyful time of glorious abundance and opening of what's next into that sunny new day, I just let it be. And I say, thank you, thank you, thank you, God, for my very life and my very abundance. And I let it be, and so it is.
So, beloveds, just to let you know, I think there's cookies on every table. Please stand for our affirmation and closing song. My life is whole and complete in God. The framework, the details, the joys and sorrows are the sacred dance I am living with and as the incarnation of the Holy One that I am.